לפנות בוקר התעורר מוקדם, איש של חסד, איש רחמן, איש מלא באהבה כל כולו. העמיס את חמורו וחשב על אדונו, והפקודה לעלות להר עם בנו יחידו. הגיעו למקום שמחה בליבם לקיים בקשת בורם. האב הגביה את ידו ונראה משתקפות בסכין ראה עיני בנו וצאצאיו דורות. פתאום מן השמיים דמעות נפלו ונשמקו. אברהם, אברהם, אל תביא שום צרה ממך, אל תשלח ידך, כי עכשיו אני יודע שאתה בן יחיד אהוב שלי.
Okay, we'll be starting in just a moment. That was just your music interlude. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another day of Lunch Break with the Rabbi. Today is Thursday, September 3rd. We're already in September, getting ready for the high holidays. Today is Thursday, so we're back to our discussion in Ethics of Our Fathers. Today we're going to be talking about Ethics of Our Fathers, Chapter 2. Today is the 14th of Elul, Thursday. Just a little notice and announcement, and I'll keep you posted tomorrow. Tomorrow's class will not be at 1 p.m. Will be later, something like 2 or 3 p.m. We'll keep you posted. We'll send you a text to let you know when we're going to be starting it, so we can have it live and safe in one place. Okay, so today we're going to begin with Ethics of Our Fathers, as we mentioned, Chapter 2. As we also mentioned, next week we're going to start with discussing the high holidays, inspiration for the high holidays, looking at different prayers of the high holidays, prayers, customs, and laws pertaining to the high holidays. If you have any questions or comments or concerns or things that you would like to be discussed, please send them in or ask the question so we can discuss them and make sure we address those topics. Today, Ethics of Our Fathers, Chapter 2, Mishnah, Section 11. And the Mishnah says as follows. Rabbi Yeshua says, having a bad and stingy and jealous eye, fulfilling the temptations of the evil inclination, and hating people for no reason, can destroy a person's life and drive him from the world. Now, of course, reading this Mishnah on face value, you can understand that, of course, this is self-understood, that if all you occupy your life with is to hate somebody else, then you're only hurting yourself. You're allowing that person to live rent-free within your mind. As well as the Mishnah over here is telling us over here, three things Rabbi Yeshua tells us that are very closely connected. That when a person sees his friend's good fortune, the first thing the evil inclination tries to do is to give a bad eye. Say, hey, it's not fair. Why is that person doing well? Why is he driving a Lamborghini? Why does he have a beautiful mansion? Why does he get to spend so much money on charity? Why is he doing so well? And all of a sudden we feel bad that that person's doing good. And it creates a bad eye. And the evil inclination tries to arouse jealousy within ourselves against that in person. And what happens if the evil inclination is successful? You end up hating that person. Why are you hating the person? Because he's fortunate? Why are you hating the person? Because he's successful? This will drive you from the world. If you're going to live your life hating people because of their success, you're going to be a total disaster. They will live the beautiful, fortunate life. But whatever you see is going to be with a bad eye, in a distaste, in a jealous manifestation. You will not have not peace nor joy for yourself because you're going to be busy looking at the other person, why they're more successful than you are. Instead, roll up your sleeves and you can be successful as well. On the other hand, when you see a friend receiving something special, winning a competition, or anything that happens to him, and you are excited and happy for the person, ignoring your evil inclination, not only is that good for your friend, but you know who gains most? You gain more than them. Because if you want to live a happy life, if you want to live a peaceful life, if you want to feel excited and fortunate, be happy with the other people's good fortune. Let me tell you a story about the author of this Mishnah. The author of this Mishnah is Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania was one of the great students of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. When he was a young child, his mother would bring him in his bassinet that he should hear the sounds of Torah, even as a child. To the extent that when they looked at Rabbi Yeshua, they would say, extol his mother's great belief that she believed, to inculcate this child with a belief and a feeling for Judaism, even at a young age. After Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai's passing, they appointed Rabbi Yeshua that he should become the leader of the yeshiva. But Rabbi Yeshua was a simple person. Though a great Torah scholar, he never wanted to earn his living from being a Torah scholar. He was a blacksmith. And as you can imagine, a blacksmith is not the cleanest job. He was dirty, and his hands were black from dealing with the metal and everything else. But Rabbi Yeshua, together with Rabbi Elazar, were the primary teachers of Rabbi Akiva, the great Torah sage. And because of his profession, he didn't look good. He wasn't the best looking person. Rabbi Yeshua was very well known that he used to have debates and was very well welcomed in the emperor's palace. And one time the emperor's palace looked at Rabbi Yeshua and said, such great wisdom in such a dirty vessel, in such an ugly vessel. To which Rabbi Yeshua responded and said, 1 second, the most expensive wine that your father has, what does he keep it in? In an earthenware vessel, doesn't he? Why don't you tell your father that it's only royalty should put, not in an earthenware, disgusting and ugly vessel, he should keep his beautiful, precious wine in a gold vessel, in a silver vessel, something that shows wealth, prosperity, magnitude of such great honor. So she went to her dad and said, Dad, what kind of business is this? Us nobles keeping our wine in such disgusting, ugly vessels? And of course, her father listened to everything his daughter said and took all the wine and put it into the metal vessels. And as you can imagine, wine does not stay long in metal. And within a few short days, all the wine turned sour and became vinegar. When he looked at his daughter and asked, who told you such type of ideas? So she said, Rabbi Yeshua. He summoned Rabbi Yeshua and asked him, why did you give my daughter such terrible advice? He answered, listen, I didn't give her the advice. I just answered her according to the way she spoke to me. She asked me, why is wisdom? Why such great wisdom in such an ugly vessel? I explained to her that wine goes in earthenware vessels, and I said maybe it should be best preserved if it's for nobility, put it in gold and silver. But instead she didn't catch it. That wisdom, wine, is best preserved in a simple and humble vessel. Happiness is best preserved with humility. Being jealous and always thinking about what the other guy has and why the other person has it and why that person made more and having a bad eye on somebody else is not good for you and not good for the other person. But even more so not good for you, as it makes your vessel, your wine, turn sour. There's a story told that they tell about the mayor of Permishlan. He was a Hasidic master. He wasn't considered a very wealthy individual per se, let's put it that way. Did not enjoy anything of materialism. But once a person came to me who was known as a great tzaddik, righteous person, and a person came to the mayor of Permishlan and complained that a certain individual is preventing him from earning a livelihood. He's his competition. He's not allowing him to prosper. Rabbi looks at him and says, do you have a horse? He says, yeah. Have you ever taken your horse to the water to drink? He says, yeah. What does the horse do when it goes to drink from the water? You ever notice? And he says, yeah, it's kicking the water constantly. He says, you know why the horse kicks the water? Because when the horse is looking in the water, what does it see? It sees a reflection. And it thinks there's another horse drinking from its water. So what is the horse doing? It's kicking the water constantly, trying to get that horse out of the way and not to take away its water. So instead of the horse enjoying its water, the horse continuously stamping and kicking the other horse because it thinks it's stealing its water. Rameir looks at this person and says, but you're not a horse. And you know there's enough water for everybody. So why are you stomping? God gives us everything we need. God will give every person your livelihood to exactly what you need. No one person can take away your livelihood or what you need and what you have. It is all in the hands of God. So there's no need to be upset. No need to be jealous. God will take care of everything you need and give you and replenish everything you have. Rabbi Yeshua was this type of person who depicted the concept of love by every single person. Never had a bad eye. Never looked at any person bad. And for that, they complimented his mother, the way she brought him up. And she brought him into the study hall. And she imbued him with this level of holiness that he should be appreciative for whatever he has and never look back. Never look at a bad eye at somebody else. Which brings us to the next mission. Rabbi Yossi says, that's chapter 2, number 12 of Ethics of Our Fathers. Rabbi Yossi says, your friend's money should be as dear to you as your own money. Be prepared to work very hard for Torah learning, because it is not like an inheritance. It does not come to you easily and automatically. All your actions, including mundane activities, such as eating and sleeping, should be done for the sake of being able to serve God. Over here, the Mishnah is telling us something very interesting. When money and possessions can be inherited and go from generation to generation and so on and so forth, the person that receives an inheritance doesn't have to do much to be able to receive that money that was left for him. Whatever was bequested to him automatically is his. He can be the biggest loser, low life, whatever it may be, that automatically is his. However, when it comes to Torah, we find something unique. While we know that the Torah tziva lanu me'Rosh Kehilas Yaakov, that the Torah was given to every single person as an inheritance, we all have access to the Torah, but it's not automatic. I always remember people telling me, oh, Rabbi Goldberg is here. I say, well, no, that's my father. Just because your father may be a great rabbi, it doesn't make you a rabbi. It doesn't make you a Torah scholar. Everything you have, you need to earn on your own. The wisdom and the knowledge of Torah doesn't just fly into you by osmosis. It has to be learned, it has to be taught, it has to be worked on, and it has to be struggled for. Just because you may come from a family of Torah scholars, it doesn't make you automatically a Torah scholar. This is where the Torah, yes, the Torah is an inheritance that we all can acquire it. But if you don't study it, you don't study that knowledge, to know the Torah, as Rabbi Yossi tells us, you need to actually study it and work hard to acquire it. Also, the fact that Torah is not an inheritance is encouraging to a person whose parents may not be a Torah scholar. As the Talmud uses the terminology, there are many people who may be, as it says, Hizaru, be careful from the poor people, because from them the great Torah scholars will come. It doesn't mean poor people financially, but it also means poor people who don't have the upbringing of Torah knowledge. Just because you weren't born into it doesn't mean you can't learn about it. On the contrary, every single person can relate to the Torah. Every single person can acquire Torah. And just because your father or your mother maybe never studied Torah before, it doesn't mean that you can't study Torah. Today, Torah is accessible for every single person, regardless of their background or affiliation. Every person's welcome to study the Torah, and every person has the ability to study, regardless of their age, regardless of their background, because Torah is there for every single Jew. Which brings us to the second part of the Mishnah. Serving God, when we talk about serving God, is not limited to a mitzvah. It's not only when I put on tefillin, give tzedakah, or pray, or keep kosher, whatever it is that means, automatically that's when I'm serving God. Every single thing in life is about serving God. As the verse tells us, "B'chol drachecha de'eu," in all your ways you should know God. In whatever you do, whether it's cleaning your house or fixing your car or helping a person cross the street, all of them have to be part of serving God. They all shall have one moment, one conscious thought in mind, which is to serve God, think about God, and how can this actually make this world a better place? This is what the point of when we look at the world around us. The world around us is filled with so many different obstacles that try to disturb us from recognizing and realizing God's greatness. But if we realize that it is the smallest things in life, the smallest steps that we take, and just make them God conscious, bring in them a special spirit and understanding and happiness and joy in them, a positivity and realizing that this can make me closer and connect to God, we will then become more appreciative for the things we do and realize that even the small little things in life are all part of this great big ladder of connecting us with spirituality, connecting us with God, cultivating our relationship, making us better people, better Jews, and better ambassadors in making this world a better place. Thank you for tuning in. It was good talking to you today. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Just a little question here. The question that we have over here is, have there been any Bali Chuvas that have become great Torah scholars? Yes, in fact, most of the, let's take just one example, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Akiva, two of the greatest Torah scholars in the Talmud, which Rabbi Meir, every Mishnah which doesn't have a name is Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Akiva was somebody who was able to study even the crowns of the Torah out an explanation. Both of them come from converts. The words in the Talmud are, be careful, you should know that a Baal Teshuva, a person who's a penitent, is even greater than a tzaddik, than a righteous person, because a righteous person was born with it, while a person who's a penitent, he repented, so to speak. He was able to, on his own, reach that level and attain the level of spirituality that the tzaddik had. And we'll talk about this actually more next week when we talk about getting ready for the high holidays. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. And now for the rest of the day, have a great one.